Good morning, everyone. Greg here from Master Trader. Well, the market's been correcting here now for just about a month. We call this the high here, which was the intraday high, and then we had this closing high over here. And so it's been churning its way down, which actually is rather bullish in that, rather than falling straight down like some other sectors did, the S&P here is kind of grinding its way down here. So as it tests this low here that it bounced off of dramatically, you see it's just holding just above it. This is a 24-hour chart, and these spiders here are slightly up here pre-market, and again, the weekly is in an uptrend, so based on this time frame, the idea is to buy pullbacks. Now, a little bit of a difference here in that here we have a V type of a top. Over here we have a squarish type of a top. Nonetheless, it still is an uptrend, and we still look at it as buying the pullbacks here, especially to the rising 20 MA, which is slightly started to flatten out here. We'll see how it shapes up here on the daily. What we want to see is a similar pattern, ideally a similar pattern to this on the weekly, meaning a retest and reversal. And you can see that here on the daily time frame. You get a plunge and then a retest and then a reversal, and that's your buy setup. So we'll see what happens if it retests here, or whether we possibly have a green day like we did here. And here it looks like for sure it's going lower. It closed near the low. It opened up near the high. Sure, it should be going down here and or lower, but then the market comes back again as buyers show up. So that's not out of the question. So we'll see as it sets up here as we get closer to the open. The Qs have had a bigger correction, and here's the big spike to the downside, and then the retest, and now it's lower. Now it's testing this major support level, and it showed a little bit of relative strength yesterday compared to the S&P with this narrow-bodied day. Held this low, then again still below the 50 MA. The 20 is pointing to the downside. So visually we can see through these moving averages the correction that's taking place. That isn't to say you can't see it just by looking at the bars, but moving averages help speed up the analysis, if you will, as a visual aid, as we just look at the arrangement and slope of these moving averages as it relates to the past. And the weekly is in an uptrend. Support, a significant support area is down here. Pre-market, it's beginning to hold. Oil pulling back from that area where it was anticipated from. Does it make a higher low, or is it new lows? And if it's new lows, well, then that opens up the door to much lower. So it'll be interesting what happens here as we look into next week. Now, bonds, on the other hand, what a round trip from the churning sideways grind to pushing up above highs to now falling all the way back down here as it comes down towards support. You can see it's down here pre-market, so it looks like it's going to make a complete round trip back down to this area, and then we'll see where buyers step up from there. In a sense, a positive sign, because we have bond prices coming down means interest rates going up, and if this economy is going to improve, which we're starting to get that type of a signal from the transports that made a new high, we want to see interest rates going up. Why do interest rates go up? Demand for money. Why is there a demand for money? Expectation of growth. So we do want to see interest rates moving higher, and that is what's happening here. So let's look at the transports. Peekaboo, new high up there. Closing high, you can see it did close and then push up above, but came in. So pulling back here within this new uptrend. So we'll see where that pullback stalls. And it's been real sloppy. The overall market has been just sloppy, for a month or longer. So we'll see as this pulls back. Excuse the red lines, but I'll turn them green. The pullback should find buyers right in this area of minor support. Now the Russell, which has just been a terrible market as far as price patterns go, and just whippy overlapping bars with tails and gaps and so on, and false moves up and down. So the weekly flattening out, but in an uptrend, and we'll just see if this can get it going. So, if the transports continue to show some relative strength here, and the Russell can find some buyers and get turned around, and the Dow, which has already made a new high, but just chopping around here within this uptrend, that would all come together with being bullish on the market. Now, let's just take a little bit of a longer term perspective here for a second and go to the monthly. Excuse me with this cough. Dow looks fine. Q's, on the other hand, up, a little extended there and pulling back. It does suggest a further pullback. So we look for, the NASDAQ, and when we talk about the NASDAQ, we have to technology. Look for further pullback in technology, and semiconductors, which took a hit, and they were the leaders. The Nvidia, and others that were doing so great have corrected here. So that's not quite as bearish as technology, but big pullback there. We'll see if it begins to stabilize here, or whether it actually breaks below this area down here. And that 200 is definitely going to be a place that we're going to keep an eye on if prices get down here. Talking about 200 MAs, Starbucks is on the radar here to see if it can hold its 200 MA. It's had a pretty big correction. It is in a downtrend, so it could be a very short-term swing, or maybe an intraday move. And with intraday moves in mind, where is our Nvidia, which began to turn around here? I had a stabilization day yesterday, and the intraday pattern here is one of a bottom. So possibly, for those of you that are intraday traders, this one could have a little bit of a move up, assuming this market can hold up here pre-market and show a little bit of strength. Micron, not as interesting, but suggests more of a correction. BABA, which has been showing relative strength, gap down yesterday. We'll see if it can repair the damage. It's one of the strongest things out there. And gold we didn't take a look at. Gold is sitting here on some support. It's getting knocked down here this morning, and another round trip here, up, back round trip, back up, back down. Very indecisive type of a market across various sectors. Now, as far as sectors and sector rotation, financials still look good. Here's where I pointed it out to you to get on board. If you did, great. It's up near resistance, and now it's going to chop around here a little bit, and the most bullish thing you could do is go sideways. And solars had a nice move up. They're bottoming out. Let's go back to the weekly. Bottoming out here. Double bottom, wide range bar up. Having correction this week at resistance. And the last one I'm going to look at with you is biotech, which has been showing relative strength as well. So there's your strong markets: biotech, financials, and solars. And so we will see what today brings. And overall, the broader markets are choppy and uncertain, and whether they continue to correct, we'll update that as to next week. Have a terrific weekend, everyone.